Good morning. So it is like 6:15 and I'm on my way to the bus stop as usual, wearing the same pink top. I do wash it. So today is kind of the furthest south I'm gonna go while staying in Newquay. So I'll take the bus back down to St. Agnes where I ended yesterday, and I'll walk. This is probably the hardest part of this portion. There's a lot of elevation. So it's gonna be about 8 miles. I'm guessing about 1,500 feet of elevation. And I'll end up in this place called Portreath, which I think it was 2019 that I stayed there. And technically I was supposed to stay there because the hospital I was staying in is like, we're in Portreath. It wasn't. It was like 2 miles away inland in this place called like Logan or something. It was a middle of nowhere farm, basically. Really hard to get to. So I'm gonna walk down to Portreath and then I'll get the bus from there. The problem is that Portreath is a little bit south for the buses that are in the loop that go to Newquay quite often. So I have to actually take a couple of buses. The easiest, most direct route I can do is 2 buses, and those link up every about 2 hours. So realistically, I either have to catch a bus at around 12, around 2, or around 4. Now I'm gonna get there at like 7:38, something like that. So I think 7:30. So I should have time. I'm thinking I'll probably hit the 2 o'clock one, but it's nice to know that I have the 4 o'clock option in case I miss it just because of the elevation and needing to take breaks and stuff. So we're gonna do slow and steady. Hope the buses work out and I don't have to take like the 5 bus option or the one that's like a bus, a train, a bus, a bus. Yeah, so keep your fingers crossed and we'll see how we go. You know, last time I stopped through Newquay, several years back now, I didn't think much of it, but it's kind of growing on me. Welcome back to St. Agnes. So now we're gonna walk ourselves back down to the coastal path. So this is cool. It's one of those old like tin mill, I guess refinery buildings, and it looks like they're converting it into a house. That's super cool. These plants grow huge here. Like we have them in Washington, but they're like a fraction of this size. Like just for comparison's sake, that's my hand. I'm doing a little off-roading here. I saw a sign that said public footpath to the beach, and it's on none of my maps. I have like 2 different maps and none of them note this path exists. So I'm just hoping for the best. But I think we're slowly getting there. Okay, I found the other end of the path. Not quite the beach, but very close and less road walking. So I guess it's a win. Or maybe I'm supposed to take that now? Who knows? I'm just gonna stay on the road. There's another example of that plant. Building for reference. Huge. Okay, it looks like I refound the path. Or at least this homemade sign to tell me about it. Okay, so yesterday I started at Portreath, and today I'm starting in Tronon's Cove or whatever, but I'm gonna go around the head for St. Agnes, and then we'll come to some pretty big open walking for a bit before we come to, I think it's called Porttowan or something like that, and that will be the only thing before Portreath as far as I understand. So bye civilization for a bit. It was so humid, and then I came around the headland and it's gusting. Like I'm thinking about putting on more layers. It's cold, but it's also kind of refreshing. The coastal watch station over there. I wonder if they're watching for like weather stuff or like missing lost at-risk boats or like invasion. And as we come around the headland, I'm pretty sure that in the distance is St. Ives, which I'll be at in a couple of days. And then this section right there, whoops, right there, I've already done. So that's the Portreath to Hale, I think. In case you're wondering how windy it is, look at the flag. Look at that black thing. I think it's a wind turbine. And yeah, it's all set with its power. Just came around this bend, and you can see more of those old mining buildings. That's wheel coats down there. So this whole site is wheel coats. Apparently there's evidence that people have been here since the Middle Ages, but what we have record of is from the late 1600s. But all these buildings would be from the late 1800s. And then there's the one down the cliff that I showed you earlier. Made it to Chapelporth, which is our one little dip into where people usually show up before we get to the actual town. It's down the coast. According to the sign, I am 3 miles in to what I think is about an 8-mile hike. According to this little map, I'm only a mile from Portreath, which is the only real town before I get to Portreath. And you can see where I've come from. The other sign said 1 mile. Someone's lying. Here we are in Portreath. Portreath isn't a ton bigger, honestly. So I think it's over that headland right there, past that little towery thing. But yeah, I think I'm just going to carry on through here and see how far I get before I need to get lunch, or eat lunch. Okay, so about 3 3/4 miles to Portreath in that direction. And that's about on what I was thinking it was about 3.5 miles, so glad to know my estimates and all. So I think I've encountered the children again. Every year when I come, it's always right at the end of school term for school children here, and the older kids do this, I think Duke of Edinburgh, I think is what it's called. I'm pretty sure that he's like the Prince Philip was the one that started it, but it's like this outdoor activity thing that the kids go on. They like lead themselves on backpacking trips. First discovered them in Scotland back in like 2017, and I run into them almost every time because I always come the end of June, beginning of July, and that's when they're doing this. So there's a cluster of clearly high school children backpacking right now on the coastal path. So if I'm reading the map right, this is the last big up-down. There's some smaller like divots, but I think this is going to be the best place for me to have lunch. So I'm going to go down there and find a spot to be and eat something and then carry on. Well, today's lunch spot, farmer nature, far less backrest, but far better view. No parking lot in sight. So, funny story, the couple behind me who are climbing down, wait, wrong direction. We're climbing down those stairs there. I ran into them yesterday. Like, we didn't talk or anything, but I recognized them. And that's the first time that's happened on this trip, which is kind of cool, especially since I'm not really running into a ton of hikers. I am seeing more since yesterday of people like walking the path, clearly backpacking with like a big pack and stuff, but the places I'm staying at after Tintagel aren't the backpacker hostels, so I'm like not running into people as much, but it's kind of cool to like recognize them. Okay, so that white little thing on that rock, that is a lighthouse. I remember that from the last time I was in this area, and I hiked over there, because the lighthouse is towards the very end. I have a picture in front of it. If I can find it, I'll put it up now. So that means that Portreath, I think, is just right over there. See where those buildings are? I think it's that bay. So hopefully I'm almost there. It's just about noon, to make good time. So I was excited prematurely, thinking that we were done with the steep up downs. There's Godfrey, which is the lighthouse. So that's the one I've walked to before. And Portreath is apparently about a mile this way, or less maybe. Apparently the final approach to Portreath is a road walk, which is not my fave. Thankfully this one's not super obstructed by foliage. I am wearing very dark colors, which makes me a little nervous, but I might pull out my brightly colored top. Well, my watch says St. Agnes is about 8 miles away, but sure. And there's Portreath. See, it's a pretty small little village. Last time I stayed here, the YHA I was staying at said it was in Portreath, which is a fat lie. All the pictures that they have on their website are right down there, except for the internal shots. But it's actually, you see where all those wires are up there? It's past that. It's like a 2-mile walk from here to get there. So I thought I was staying here with these like cool looking canals and everything, but I was not. I did walk down here one day, and that's what inspired me to walk that direction to the Godfrey Lighthouse for like 8 miles. And that was another section of me doing the Southwest Coast Path. So I made a really good time. It's only noon, well no, it's 1:45, and the next bus that has the connection that I want doesn't come until 2:40. So I have like 2 hours basically to kill in this town. I think the last connection, I didn't even look earlier than the 2 o'clock one, like the 2:40 one, because I didn't think I'd get here in time, but I think there was one at like 12:05 or something like that. So I definitely missed that one, but now I have some time, I guess, in Portreath. But I'm really glad I broke up that hike. That plus the 4 miles before it would have been brutal. With the elevation and everything, that was like the right amount. So yeah, I think we're good. Tomorrow will be a travel day, so I won't be hiking. And then the day after that, I'll be doing kind of a weird one. I'll tell you more about that when the time comes. Well, since there's no bus for 2 hours, I thought I'd have some beach time. That's how warm the water is at Celsius. There's a person out there swimming laps with a buoy. Like, safety first and everything, but you know, you just don't have to swim the laps. Oh well, each his own. I'm gonna walk this way a little bit. Got an ice cream. That's called Millionaire Shortbread. It's like a shortbread, butterscotch, toffee situation. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's really good though. I go for for the flavor. Like 8.5 out of 10. Solid. Was wondering, that's what a baby seagull looks like. No, your eyes do not deceive you. They are huge.